warm greetings to everyone. Myself, Dr. L. Arun. I am an assistant professor in Department of Veterinary and Animal and Extension Education, Veterinary College and Research Institute, Unnurpet, which is an affiliated college to Tamil Nadu Veterinary Animal Sciences University, Chennai. Where I will be discussing about flood and livestock, the perspective and challenges. Perspective means looking into the flood disaster through the livestock eyes and the challenges. The lecture will be of this outline, and India is ranked among 11th among 15 countries facing extreme risk from natural disaster. Flood, according to Tripathi 2015, flood is defined as high water stages in which water overflows its natural or artificial banks onto normally dry land, such as river inundating its floodplain. As per statistics, flood loss is like 17% and the loss of livestock sector during flood is pegged at 34%. There was 189 flood disaster in the world since 838 AD to till date, including the 2018 Kerala floods. The highest number of mortality caused in 1931 Chinese flood, which caused about 10 million deaths. Indian perspective, from 1915 to 2015, there were 649 disasters, of which 302 are flood disasters, which accounted for 47%. The total death was 71,000, total affected was 83 crore people. The economic loss was pegged to be 3,70,000 crores. The cumulative loss is 2% of its Indian GDP according to Tripathi 2015. So I have taken example of Kerala flood. So it was classified as level 3 calamity, which is calamity of severe nature. From 1st to 19th August 2018, 164% of rainfall, above rainfall, that is 2346.6 mm rainfall poured over Kerala, which affected 23 million people, caused 504 deaths. The economic loss was pegged to be 26,700 crores, of which the agriculture and livestock loss was pegged to be 7,155 crores. It caused mortality of 1.76 crore poultry, 46,000 cows and 20,000 goats, according to Mahesh Chanderi's 2019. The recovery vision for Kerala floods, according to United Nations, develop a sustainable, responsible, integrated, inclusive, eco-friendly and resilient agriculture. Agriculture includes crop, livestock and fisheries. It should be consistent with the policies of Government of Kerala and Government of India. This recovery vision not only holds good for Government of Kerala or any other government, it holds good for every country which is facing the flood as a disaster. The perspective of animals' role in flood disaster. So, from the point of view, POV of the animal, the animal's role goes like this. Animal can forewarn an incubant disaster, because like dogs can bark, the birds can fly away from the disaster zone like in earthquake. So, the dogs are used in search and rescue operations during flood. People escape holding on to the animals, like large animals like horses and donkeys. The salvaged animals are put into immediate use. So, the died animal can be used as hide, bone, lard and carcass. So, partially and damaged crops can be fed to the animals as animal feed. The flooded area can be used for duck rearing and fish farming. The pigs can be used for clearing garbages and waste materials. Marooned people, they refuge among the herds of sheep and goat. The impact of flood on livestock economies. The direct impact of flood on livestock economics are animal sourced food is sparse to get, the draft power of the animal is lost, the income generating opportunities of the people is lost, culturally and socially important animals are lost, the loss of savings and investment, because animals are considered as a great investment to the people. The indirect impact are food security and nutrition, because animals play a major role apart from agriculture in giving food security and nutrition. Reduced labor availability, as animals are used as draft power, so it reduces the labor availability, and the loss of productive use of labor, reduced income security, reduced social participation and inability to cover certain expenses. This is according to Cron in 2015. Impact of flood on animal health. So, animals are prone to a lot of diseases during flood, like contagious diseases, and they get poor nutrition. So, it causes subclinical and clinical diseases. Malnutrition results in loss of body weight, energy and mineral imbalances. reduced reproductive efficiency, then there are public health concerns like outbreak of zoonotic disease including vector-borne diseases like leptospirosis, malaria and dengue. Reduction of value of head from 30% to 70%. So flooding of pasture kills vegetation, so animal has no place to graze. Erosion, the fertility soil is lost, the overgrazing of a little amount of pasture which is left by blood, debris in pasture because lot of debris like plastic, glasses they put into pasture which is hazardous to animal health according to Chen and Chandar in 2003. Responsibilities of stakeholders, central government from 1954 to 2004, central government has taken 20 initiatives, that is they have formed committees, working groups and task forces. So they have formed one National Disaster Management Authority which is called NDMA according to Disaster Management Act 2005. So it gives institutional, legal, financial coordination mechanism at the national, state, district and local levels. So it mainly prepares the nation in prevention, preparedness, mitigation, rehabilitation, reconstruction and recovery of from the flood disaster. It formulates policies and guidelines and coordinates the enforcement and implementation of policies and plans. So these are some of the central government initiatives to mitigate the flood. So they have formed National Executive Committees, National Disaster Response Force, National Institute of Disaster Management, Central Water Commission, IMD, National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, National Remote Sensing Agency, National Flood Management Institute and River Basin Organizations which is interstate coordination. So the state government has also taken many responsibilities and they have been working like from State Disaster Management Authority, State Executive Committees, State Flood Control Boards, Irrigation Departments, District Disaster Management Agency, State Disaster Response Force that is SDRF and interstate multi-sectoral cooperation. Down the line, decentralization, the community participation, the response from the community is 24 to 78 hours after the disaster. So the community, the affected people are the first responders of any leave alone flood disaster, any disaster. Community based disaster preparedness program and Panchayat Raj institution, they play a greater role in mitigating the flood disaster. The voluntary agencies like WSPA, World Society for Protection of Animals, overstretch the economic resources and it gives additional support from voluntary agencies. WHO, World Health Organization, World Organization for Animal Health, OIE, Oxfam, Red Cross, World Vision, Give India and of course Armed Forces and Coast Guard, they lend their valuable hand for additional support to the government. Flood emergency and management. According to Hearth et al. 1999, the flood emergency management is of 4 phases. Prevention, that is again it can be read as mitigation also, preparedness, response and recovery. Prevention, how do we prevent the flood? So it is by these methods: educating and creating awareness, hazard and vulnerability assessment of the particular area, improving the infrastructure, strengthening of animal health services, training to the veterinarian and common people in public health and epidemiology. So it also includes educating the veterinarian in disaster management, animal identification and insurance, because it is very important, because during Kerala flood 76,000 animals died. So it was a very hard thing without animal identification to give insurance to the animal. Financial planning for post-disaster recovery, construction of holding facilities for livestock in the flood affected area. Preparedness, are you prepared for disaster warning? So it should be the first thing. So there should be a response plan and communication. Communication should be restored. Training exercise should be done before every monsoon season and there should be a standard operating SOP procedure for preparedness of flood response. So flood occurs. So there should be a proper communication and coordination among all the agencies and major issues. Many major issues need to be addressed and there should be early intervention to support animal health. Animals should be vaccinated and treated after the flood. The animals should be sheltered, carcasses should be removed, contamination should be avoided, feed and shelter should be given to the proper animals. So during the response, there should be animal wealth consideration. So it should be the aim of animal wealth consideration or the alleviating of suffering and human destruction of moribund animals. Veterinarians are best qualified to ensure the welfare of the animals. So after response, recovery commences with effective mitigation operations. So restocking the livestock population. So restocking may be by lot of help from the government. Government may give loan, banks may they give lot of helping hand in restocking the livestock population, and they provide an opportunity to improve the existing systems. So coming to the challenges in flood disaster management, before getting into challenges, the gaps in flood management should be read. The challenges, 4 challenges are there. They are grouped as per conventional disaster cycle. They are reducing risk of exposure, enhancing capabilities, securing the affected, and maintaining resilience and strengthening links. So first, gaps in flood management. In India, there are lot of gaps in flood management, like the close contour maps and digital elevation models of flood prone areas is not prepared. Flood forecasting and warning is not up to global standard. Floodplain zoning regulations, so it is not implemented properly. The implementation of flood proofing measures, the structural measures for flood is not proper. Operation of reservoirs is not up to the global standard, or there is no standard operating procedure for operation of procedures like large dams. Coming to again, gaps in flood management includes erosion of a river. The participation of public is very minimum, and on ad hoc basis immediate relief for public demand, and the proper documentation about a previous flood is not being documented. Reducing the risk of exposure. According to Akatobe et al. 2016, technical activity for engineering, water and disaster management experts should be roped in for reducing the risk of exposure. The risk of exposure should understand the differences between all the flood disasters. Participation of public in reshaping and reducing the risks. The participation of public is more important. They should act according with all the government agencies in reducing the risk of exposure and scenario based approaches, because in mountain regions there will be the flood disaster will be different, and in plains it will be different. Enhancing capacities to cope and respond. According to Doris et al. 2018, regulations and practices of the state should be enhanced to respond, enhanced by diversification. So there will be like 10 to 12 agencies working on coping up the flood. So the diversification of the work to the decentralization of work to the all the agencies will be, the response will be enhanced. Local community organizations, decentralization reforms, high quality two-way communication between those at risk and those who are expertise and resources. That is simply decentralization of all the resources, and simply it is communication and education of those people, those are at risks. Securing the affected. So how to secure the affected? So there should be strong disaster policies, programs and practices. Emergency relief effort should be foreseeable. It should be of world class. Complex procedure for compensation is available in India. It should be very simplified, like DBT, direct beneficiary transfer, and proactively on development for the affected and vulnerable people. So building and maintenance of resilience. According to Bober et al. 2007, broader vision that includes addressing vulnerability and resilience, expanding livelihood opportunities or restoring ecosystem. Livelihood opportunities, expanding livelihood opportunities just include, they do not depend on only one operation, that is agriculture or animal husbandry. There should be a lot of livelihood opportunity created for the people, and the flood protection infrastructure should be maintained and repaired periodically, at least before monsoon, at least before the cloudburst or something. Future environmental condition resources should be taken into consideration in building and maintenance of resiliency. The social and ecological resilience should be improved, and of course every animal should be ensured properly. Strengthening links between knowledge and practice. So the link between the proper knowledge what we have and what we are practicing, there are absolutely no link. So it should be strengthened properly. So there should be a comprehensive evaluation of flood disaster management systems. So evaluation of from 19, we have got like 749 odd flood disaster in the world. So we should learn from the mistakes. So it should be based on evidence based reasoning. The reasoning should be based on evidence, not just thinking. Reforestation prescribed is a proper prescribed solution to all environmental problems. focusing on restricting land use in vulnerable mountain areas. So these mountain areas, they are considered as vulnerable, and there should be no activity, absolutely no activity on these vulnerable mountain areas. Relocation and other drastic policies should be avoided, should be properly avoided. So wherein if the relocation and other drastic policies are implemented properly, the marginal people are more vulnerable because they lose their livelihood properly. Role of veterinarians in flood management. Okay, normally, present point of view, veterinarians are looked as merely technicians rather than professional, at least during flood disaster. So veterinarians have tremendous amount to contribute for societal well-being, including public and animal health. They should participate as member of the emergency management system. There should be a proper veterinary disaster management, and some activity is being going on, like setting up of VIRU, that is veterinary emergency response units. So for conclusion, flood disaster, of course, it is not a physical happening. It is a social event. People, we need to we need to live with the flood, because flood is not like in our hands, it's in nature hands. So the activities of development should be an integral part of prevention of the disaster and mitigating the disaster. So sustained effort should be given to address the problem, to reduce the impact of flood in the short term and flood risk in the medium and long term. Proactive measure is the need of the hour rather than reactive measures, because we have seen so many floods. We have learned, we should learn the lessons from previous flood, and proactive measures should be taken rather than reactive. These are the references I took for this lecture. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.